as you can imagine, there were warm words for the first visit of the Prime Minister of Japan here. Prime Minister Suga, of course, getting the first invitation as a head of government to the White House, not from Europe, not from the Middle East, shows where the lens is. And China very much dominating the question part. In fact, the Prime Minister had questions, I think, on Taiwan, Xinjiang, and just generally China questions. He was a little bit more guarded in his words when it comes to China than President Biden was. You can tell that the Americans very much want Japanese to sort of be by their side when they pursue this Indo-Pacific strategy, both militarily, diplomatically, and of course economically. But of course Japan has very close ties. In fact, after the press conference here, Prime Minister Suga gave a interview to a think tank here, and he really was focusing on expanding the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, or the Comprehensive Trans-Pacific Partnership, after the US dropped out. Now, as you know, the Biden administration find it difficult to go into this trade group after the Trump administration pulled out. That really is a big highlight for Japan. Now, we don't have the details in terms of cooperation when it comes to technologies like 5G, semiconductor supply chains, which the Americans have been pushing. Behind the scenes, the key advisor on Asia, Kirk Campbell, said it was one of the most productive meetings ever. We'll have to wait and see all the details as they flesh out. And a big policy push from the Biden administration, especially when it comes to China, is climate change, because they don't want just China and the US to be sort of seen as the G2 when it comes to climate change. But Japan has been pushed by Washington to lower the date for when it reaches peak carbon emissions and net zero as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. And in answers to questions, thorny questions like Taiwan and Xinjiang, Suga was very sort of reticent in his remarks, very diplomatic, nothing really sort of to set eyebrows raised in Beijing. The big question, of course, is US criticism when it comes to Taiwan. Would Japan be part of any military confrontation if one were to happen? Of course, that would create alarm bells, not just in Beijing, but of course Taipei. There's a long history of Japanese occupation of the island as well. So all this, of course, very much up in the air. Both leaders, though, sort of built up this informal, which is rapidly becoming more formal alliance, the Quad, involving Japan, the US, of course, India, and Australia as well. But it's early days in this relationship, even though Prime Minister Suga was the right-hand man for Prime Minister Abe for a long time. Both newer in their job. And of course, there are differences in the alliance structure between Japan and the Republic of Korea and the US as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how they tackle the DPRK, for example. Details to come. Nathan King, CGTN at the White House.